Leech Seed, they're all very slow damage, and like the rocket from the Clockwork, very long cooldown too. So there's not the huge burst from Queen of Pain or possibly even Crystal Maiden on the side of Orange, and perhaps that gold could have been used for something else.
Yep. Butterfly now finisher on Zoe. A couple key items is going to be finished or finishing very quickly on IG. I just checked on Shadow Demon's gold, sitting about 1700. If he gets a 4-staff, Lifestealer is going to have a big issue. Meanwhile, Clockwork about 700 away from his own 4-staff. So when double force is up, Lone Druid and as well as the Lifestealer is going to have a ton of issue chasing to do sustained damage throughout the team fight. Tier 2 being under siege, there is a big creep wave going towards a Radiant Tier 2. So IG shouldn't siege for too long. They're going to probably try one more time. If it doesn't work out, they'll just TP back and farm. No, Zoe says, man, let's get these creeps bot.
And because of the last fight, I think they're standing a little bit like behind right now just because Gyrocopter did get bursted down. But in theory, it should be pretty easy for him to pop his BKB. You can use it through use it through Root, you can use it through Open Wound, Frostbite. The only thing that can really stop you right now is the Scythe of Vice or the Ice Path from the Jakiro. And the Ice Path from Jakiro is only around 2-second duration. So unless they can do a heavy amount of damage to him during the... Ooh, there's no gem there. Where's Mushi?
The Sun's going to come around the middle against KYXY. Clockwork Hook against 2 supports. Great play, but where's the follow-up damage? Trying to get a solo kill against Net. Meanwhile, they're focusing on KYXY. It's not going to be enough. Mech's going to be used. 430 does not have a single Sun. He's going to be charging up a second one, but you just do not go on KYXY. Zoe has already used the BKB in a jungle, or will they have enough? I think they will. KYXY is going to go down to the butterfly damage output of Zoe. Where was Queen of Pain? Heard of ultimate being used, but, well, she wasn't in the middle of the team fight. Rocket's not...
She used it on Clockwork.
Ah, I see. Meanwhile, Ohio, well, gonna rage and TP out.
So good team fight for Orange. Again, Mushi should have been there with a gem, and they went on KYXY in an unfavorable position. His support scrambled to support him and got caught by the Clockwork. Excellent initiation by YY up there. I actually thought he was completely dead. I heard the Queen of Pain Sonic Wave and was watching KYXY, but well played by IG there. And I mean, they're taking these team fights pretty convincingly, and aside from the Roshan one.
Yeah, it's just doing so much work. 430 charging up, stun, Clockwork Hook. What a beautiful chain stun here, and they are going to bring him down. My goodness, IG playing like they were the TI2 champions. Mushi TPing back in. Rocket's going to give some psych, and Crystal Maiden and Jakiro talked about their mobility, talked about the range. Man, they need every bit of it. Tier 2
nice try
to
to
go down.
The tower there.
I'm just absolutely impressed with the way that they initiate on Ohio. 430 running up, doesn't care about the tower at all. It's going to force the BKB usage from Mushi. No, they don't make that go. And Tier 3 suddenly, Orange Esport in big, big trouble.
Yeah, that was great coordination by IG there. Had he not hookshot, usually you just rage dodge a stun and just reset the fight there. But with that just brief stun from the hookshot, they were able to burst the Lifestealer down. Again, Lifestealer not too much of a factor as he usually is, because the Living Armor just stymies a lot of his early aggression, and they have so many tools to deal with him. I like the draft from IG. You can really tell that they know how to handle a Lifestealer. Not only just the hero picks, but their usage of their heroes is just incredible.
Every stage of the game, the laning stage, you saw them kill that particular lane once or twice. There's a 4-staff number 1 being finisher on the Clockwork, and 4-staff number 2 should come quite quickly on Faith as well. Meanwhile, Treant Protector is going to finish a Medallion Courage. That's definitely another item. Good against the Lone Druid Bear, good against Lifestealer himself. Tier 1 tower going back to full HP because Chuan, has he died? He has not died a single time this game. 1-0-5. Beautiful play from Chuan.
Yeah, and it's usually pretty difficult to say, oh man, this is fantastic Treant play, but he just has really good living armors. He keeps all the towers up. He doesn't die in the fights. He almost always overgrowths when the Lifestealer is raged, and just excellent play by him. Some people say he doesn't have a skill cap, but Chuan is playing fantastically. So
where does Orange Esport go from here? They have the items. They have a
I think what they need to do is split push a little bit more and try and secure the next Roshan. We saw them secure that first Roshan, and if they can do that again, they can try and farm a little bit of items and overwhelm them, perhaps an Abyssal Blade on the Lifestealer, so they can actually shut down this Gyrocopter. Again, they have nothing for him during BKB. I mean, they have Root, but he'll still get almost all of his flax off. And again, no Scythe of Vice yet on Mushi. I see a
Clockwork Hook's going to come through to fall off from the mid lane here, and KYXY all away from home, and he's going to go down quite easily. Ice Path not really doing too much, and well, there's that one free kill. I do believe Orange Esport is going to lose that Rex. I do believe split push is the answer, but perhaps not the best answer, because living armor is definitely going to slow down that split push, and they just don't have that time. IG Ferrari, or maybe Che Sending, it's going to just walk straight up, and he's been walking straight up that cliff like he just doesn't care. with Mech as well as Plate Mail now on him, look at how tanky he is in conjunction with his crazy regen as well as his big HP gain in his ultimate form.
So Bear down for 40 seconds. He does have his Bear up in case he decides to buy back. He does have enough gold for it right now, and I think if he doesn't, IG will just take a free T3 here.
Yeah, T3 is being somewhat slow siege. Lifestealer is trying to backstab. I think they really need to fight with their Bear, and they're doing a very good job delaying it, using the Glyph, dropping out a couple of AoE spells. Queen of Pain on the south, trying to come in and out of that team fight, threatening to pop that BKB, blinking back in, and they won't actually delay long enough till the Bear comes back alive. This should be a very interesting team fight. You still have Ohio just waiting on the wing, threatening to come in.
I like how Joe finally moved to the top of the hill. If he moved to the top of the hill earlier, I think they could have had that T3 down a little bit earlier and gotten some damage on the racks. But regardless, KYXY is up, and ooh, are they going to scout Ohio out here?
Ohio says, man, I don't want to take a fight against a Butterfly BKB. And now a Reaver almost finished Satanic on Gyrocopter. I say that if Gyro finishes the Satanic, you're not going to kill him this game. With Living Armor, with things like 2 Force Staff, Defensive Disrupt, of course, his own BKB, and Butterfly, how do you kill this guy?
I think, again, they need Butterfly, they need an MKB up on the Bear, and they need Scythe of Ice. That's a lot of farm for Orange, but I think they can delay it in a fight of even positioning. I think that Orange won't fare that badly, but if IG go into the Roshan pit, I think Orange can contest them there just like they did last time, or if IG chooses to push a T3. So IG knows that they're stronger right now, but are they strong enough to take a fight in an unfavorable positioning scenario? We'll see.
Oh wow, the Bear just went up the hill and there is no summon for a full 1 minute. I'm not sure whether IG is aware of this. They should be aware of it because when the Lone Tree came back alive, he had to resummon the Bear, and that was the second Bear kill. So that could be just straight up the easiest racks that IG is going to claim. They're going to take a claim of Roshan as well. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain trying to split push mid, but they have Glyph. The tower's still at full HP. The Rocket's going to slow down this particular push. And of course, Chuan, once that creep wave is off the tower, he's going to start healing it. Chuan TB's in, force out the Queen of Pain away from the tower, and the Living Armor should bring a tower back up. So Asia's up now on the Gyrocopter. And I think they just take racks. There is no Bear resummon for 30 more seconds.
I think it's just poor awareness by KYXY. They went on him once over here with the Shadowblade Alchemist when Mushi wasn't there, and they just killed him almost in the exact same place. And you cannot have that happen as a Lone Druid, and you are just absolutely useless without your Bear. Looks like he'll be down for yet another 10 seconds. No Glyph up for Orange, but he should have it just after the start of this fight.
Yeah, there's some couple spells like Ice Path, Nova to slow down this push, but you're not slowing down Zoe, who has his Aegis now. Satanic should be flying through right now. You even have a Centaur to give him a little bit of more attack speed. There you go, Satanic is going to be delivering. Zoe standing in the front line, he just doesn't care. Drops a call down, now be focusing on the Bear. If this Bear is dead, there's just no way. Well, they just lost KYXY. BKB coming out from Mushi, but the Overgrowth will lock in place, and the right click are just so much. Ohio says, I'm going home, guys. A celebratory smoke being used, and I'm pretty sure the GG call is coming out anytime soon from Orange Esport.
Yeah, and again, BKB is usually pretty good on Queen of Pain, but their arsenal of spells to deal with BKB is just incredible. Meanwhile, on the flip side, Orange can't do anything versus Zoe. They tried to throw everything at him. He had the Living Armor, but he didn't even need to pop BKB.
Yeah.
He's just like, whatever, I'll just flag. Kills Crystal Maiden, almost kill Jakiro during my flag while I just kill your Rex, no problem.
Well, we were saying that IG not playing at the top form. A ton of us at the BTS house says, hey man, Orange is going to take this series.
I really don't see
easy.
why IG was an underdog. They just have incredible amounts of skill, and the potential of their team is just incredible.
To me, this was their best game in the entire tournament. We have not seen them play with this much coordination, with this much kind of strategy well thought out. If this is the IG that we're looking at, how far do they go in this tournament? Can they beat Orange Esport?
I mean, they could definitely beat Orange Esport if they play like that again. I don't think Orange played particularly poorly. I think the draft of IG and just the early game play was just superior. And if they play well, Orange, even if they play well, they can't win the game.
Yeah. So it was just a draft defeat, you think?
It was a draft defeat, and yeah, they just used Treant Protector so effectively to babysit their relatively weak lanes. Clockwork, not at an advantage versus Lone Druid. Alchemist, not at an advantage versus Alchemist, or versus Queen of Pain. And Gyrocopter, not at an advantage with the Treant in your lane. But they managed to not die consistently, and they actually were ahead 4-1 in kills in the early game. And if you can get through that rough early game phase, get BKB on Gyrocopter, get that mech up on Alchemist, and just snowball and push all your towers down, you just win the game. That's exactly what IG did.
Well, before we hand it back to Bruno and James, quick yes/no question here for Merlini. Are they going to ban out Treant Protector 1, 0, and 7?
I say yes.
You say yes. All right, let's get it back to Bruno and James.
Thanks, Lumi and Melini. So I've got my points I want to complain about.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, all right. So you got all the lanes. Technically, we're going in favor of orange. As far as farm goes, right? So I'm like, okay, this is good. But what they wanted to do, obviously, with the Lone Druid was take the tier 1 top.
Right.
So you can then rotate the Lone Druid with your team, get more towers. Awesome. Because they weren't able to get towers, I don't even think they had a mech by the end of the game. And taking towers is really nice, so your Jakiro can actually pick up a mech. And obviously you're up against an Alchemist that didn't actually go Greevil's Greed. It was like 4-4-0-1 that was able to get a mech. Now, Mushi was the person that I was like, you're doing so well. Why are you going BKB?
I mean, he was supposed to do well in the lane, of course.
Yeah, of course.
An alchemist, he had whatever he wanted.
But like the BKB, I was just like, I don't understand this pick, right? If you're fighting with a Lifestealer and a Lone Druid, this is your front line, okay? It's like, boom, this is your front line. Like, what are you worried about? Okay, cooldown, sure, that's a bit of damage, but fact is, you shouldn't really be in it. And if your Lifestealer and Lone Druid are putting out the pressure, you should know where to go otherwise. And Overgrowth goes through BKB if you pop it first. And then you cast Overgrowth second, and also Shadow Demon as well, Purge, right? There were so many times that Mushi was like, this close to killing people, and I was like, if he fucking got an Orchid, and when I am going aggressive, right, and he was like, I'm going down to our tri lane that lost a couple of kills, but I'm going to get my Orchid before Gyro gets his BKB.
Right.
Okay? Then you can actually kill the Gyro. Yes. After the BKB, sure, you might be able to pick up a support, but even the Alchemist, or the or Clockwork, I just think if he had an Orchid, and they took team fights a little bit more aggressively earlier and kind of ignored the Lone Druid for a little bit, that could have been huge for Orange. And the fact that they didn't, that BKB did nothing.
Yes.
Did absolutely nothing.
The thing is, I think Orange was forced into going BKB on Queen of Pain, if only because as strong as the Lifestealer and Lone Druid combo is, and this is like the two big fat frontline heroes, there were two problems with them. First of all, they didn't have any kind of initiation. You can say, yeah, I can send the Vera as initiation, but it's not the same as having a clock that can jump on you and just nullify your support. So Mushi has to jump.
You don't need you're not necessarily looking for the initiation like all the time. You're looking to bring a team to a tower and take the tower with the Lone Druid.
But every time they did that, Clock would jump on the support, kill the support. There will be like...
Clock jumps on supports, Orchid the motherfucker. Yeah. Like, what up, bitch? No cogs.
Then the rest of the team comes and you're not having... I mean, I understand where you're going to. Having more damage, having a way to actually bring something more to the table.
He missed like so many solo kills, like 1v1, just because there was like, even after the Scream, there was like...
one sliver of little bit of health.
And he's running out of mana. Mana regen.
Yeah.
I'm staying with my point, man.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that Orchid thing.
Yeah.
Just because they needed to silence the Treant Protector or the Shadow Demon, or just try and find
even the Alchemist when he's charging up a stun. And he had Gem as well, right? So it's like if you had Gem Orchid, you're still pretty safe against an Alchemist. It's like if you see an Alchemist coming in, you should be able to get away.
IG's teamfight just went perfectly well. Like they executed the way they wanted to every single time. They had nothing to disrupt the team fight, stop them from getting off the key Overgrowth, defensive disrupt, demonic purge on the rage. If they could kill somebody during the rage, the team fights would have gone a lot differently. But they always just kited him a silence or two, or even an AoE silence, or just different draft overall would have helped a lot.
Yep.
It's also good to notice how strong Living Armor is against heroes like Nyx and Lone Druid, that the only way they have to deal damage is right-clicking you. Some people, I always joke that some people say that Bloodseeker is a weak hero because you can TP out of whatever he tries to do for you.
Yeah.
And Lifestealer is the same, in a way. The only thing is that, of course, he can deal damage probably faster than Bloodseeker. But in this case, with the Living Armor, you just pop it there, and the next 7 hits that you do will just do 80 less damage, which nullifies whatever damage you can get from an armlet or even fist.
Yeah, and one of the other things about Treant Protector we should mention, there was a dive on the gyrocopter on the bottom lane.
Yeah, at the beginning of the game.
And it was just like, okay, he's got 9 charges on Magic Wand. Right. He had just Living Armor was about to wear off. And then Leech Seed comes in, ticks 3 times,
He's pretty much
and
full
got
health.
off. So like, you know, Chom played amazing. He was on point with his living armors. He was on point with the leech seeds in the lane because they didn't want to. If they lost that kill, if they gave away that kill, that BKB would have been delayed a little bit. But it does matter, you know what I mean? So it was pretty impressive how Trient. It doesn't look like he contributes. But when
it does.
yeah, but like how he does when he does as well is pretty amazing. And he even was doing some nice right-click damage as well in some of the team fights when he was in the cogs with his teammate against one as well. So pretty amazing play by IG. But I don't feel that Orange are out of this by any means. I do feel that as they mentioned, there probably might be a Trient ban. But I don't feel they were really outdrafted. I just felt like they didn't get what they wanted.
No,
they didn't utilize
I
the
think
start well enough.
we saw at the beginning there were 2 kills. The gyrocopter escape that you mentioned and the lifestealer kill that they actually killed Gyro just at the beginning of the game, but they first killed the lifestealer. Those things in many other circumstances would have gone in Orange's way, and if they got control of that tri-lane, Lone Druid was having like a field day in his lane, and Queen of Pain was dominating. Just maybe those 2 things would have set the pace of the game entirely different.
And to get control of the tri-lane, bring down your quap, get kills.
Right.
But unfortunately it didn't happen. So either way, game 1 goes towards Invictus Gaming, and we're going to have game 2 starting up pretty soon. But I know that Kawa, he's super excited. He's like, when do I get to press the add button? Right, Kawa? Do you want to press it now, or later? What? Okay, you were much more excited. You don't press the ad button.
So you wow.
Oh, okay, we don't run ads. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, we're going to be coming back after the short break with game 2 of IG versus Orange in the Alienware Cup. See you in just a moment. Welcome back to the Alienware Cup, where we're about to go into Game 2 between IG and Orange. IG 1-0 up.
Yes.
They didn't have the odds in their favor.
No, but slightly. I mean, let's be fair. It
No,
was
but-
as close as 50-50 as you can
Okay,
be.
all right. So before we send it over to Lumi and Melanie,
Right.
what are Orange going to do?
What are Orange gonna do? Well, they have to put all the weight on Mushi and Net, the two players that have been shining all throughout the tournament. They have slightly underperformed. Mushi, of course, did win their lane, but couldn't capitalize on that, while Net didn't show anything impressive. Maybe go back to the Sun King that worked for them very, very well. Maybe just give Mushi a higher impact hero. Not that Queen of Pain isn't high impact in the early game, but just something that can farm and can be potentially more dangerous late game.
All right, well, we'll see what they're going to do, because Orange now have to win 2 in a row. IG only need to win 1, and if they do so, they'll move through the tournament.
Yes.
They're in the lower bracket, both teams, and we're going to send it over to the game with Lumi and Melanie.
Back to the game, Orange Esport on the Radiant this game here, Invictus Gaming on the Dire, and of course, we are Merlumi. I'm Luminous, and joined by Merlini on the side. Darkseer is going to be the opening pick for Orange Esport. Slips by the ban stage. Meanwhile, a quick counter pick here from Invictus Gaming. Nyx Assassin is what you want against Darkseer during the mid game. A single mana burn during a team fight is just absolutely devastating. So, good start here for Invictus Gaming, but Darkseer, of course, reigns the long lane. So, we'll see how Orange Esport will concoct this draft.
And I like the Darkseer pickup over, for example, a Lone Druid pickup that they had last game, just because if you win your lane, you can contribute a lot more to team fights. You don't have to rely on getting towers down and putting a lot of pressure that way. They can actually have a team fight. Their team fight lineup was a little bit lackluster last game. Nyx is okay, but if you get kited, he doesn't really do anything. Lone Druid wasn't able to get any towers, so he didn't have the items necessary to contribute. And then Crystal Maiden and the other heroes, they were just kind of like meh for the team fights, and they just kind of fell apart in the team fight phase. So I'm glad they're drafting a little bit more team fight oriented. Meanwhile, Invictus Gaming will still go a little bit greedy. Second pick, Anti-Mage. First pick, Nyx Assassin.
Well, you say Darkseer wins the lane. Does he win the lane against Anti-Mage? Especially a pooled Anti-Mage starting with like 6 Tangles and like a Salve and a Stout Shield. Because
I don't think so.
Right, once Anti-Mage gets to a ring of health, then you say, hey man, you could get farm you want because you're Darkseer. I'm going to get the farm I want, and that's like a 14-minute Battle Fury. And then at that point you're saying, well, we're not really getting the even exchange out of this lane. And even though it's a fairly early Anti-Mage draft, you could call it greedy. But against what people send onto long lane Darkseer, it's a fine draft.
Not if you have living armor.
Well,
Iron Shield's pretty good for living armor.
it is
though.
real. You don't jam the treant like a piece of morning wood into just any lineup. Like you gotta make it work. So
like a piece of morning wood.
I mean, let's just leave it at that. What do you think, Orange? Merlin, are you still okay? Have we lost you here? We should actually be focusing on, I think, Net and Extinct's hero. Sand King, we talked about in a fairly decent team fight. Yesterday, by the way, we saw LG in just organize some of the best vacuum burrow strike combos. So if they pick into a Sand King, that's definitely possible. But they're going to go back into the Lone Druid here. And I don't think Tree and Protector is the answer this game.
So it really depends on what Orange wants to do. You can either try and compete with farm, but very atypical for teams to do that without an Alchemist. Alchemist, Anti-Mage, Alchemist will usually win that fight in the farming wars and just carry on to the late game. But if you don't have Alchemist, who's already banned out, you can also choose to go aggressively with a really strong triple lane. But also, we saw one team go with a support Shadow Shaman, and he just absolutely decimated their team. He had early Arcane Boots, early Blink Dagger, pushed on all the tiles with wards, and he had so much lockdown, Anti-Mage wasn't able to do anything.
Yeah, that was yesterday's Orange versus Zenithus matchup. I think Orange was the one that picked a support Shadow Shaman against Yamate's Midas Battle Fury Anti-Mage. It didn't work out. Another way to actually work on Anti-Mage is just straight up push
Push him down.
Yeah, a Lone Druid, very good at that. Lashrak, you get a pick up here. I'm surprised that they are actually banning out Nature's Prophet. It's a hero they could use, but maybe not because they already have his lane already taken up.
Again, they don't want to lose the lane versus the Anti-Mage. I think Anti-Mage will beat out a Nature's Prophet in the lane, so they can't really use it for themselves. He fares okay versus Darkseer. It really depends on the skill matchup, but I think IG has higher skilled solo players than Orange does. And Anti-Mage versus Lone Druid, I would say Lone Druid definitely has that advantage in that. So it really depends on how they want to match things up. And Nature's Prophet, I don't think would work too well in their lineup, especially considering they already have two pretty fine solo heroes. But would IG really take Nature's Prophet though? That is a question.
Yeah, well they do have their offlane player, YYF, does play a pretty good Nature's Prophet, so maybe they're worried about tower trades, because one thing that you're pushing is you don't want to lose a tower for free. So that's definitely Nature's Prophet, one of the best tower trading hero in the game. But to me, I like Invictus Gaming's ban here on the Naga Siren, as that we've been talking about Naga throughout the past 5 days of the Alienware Cup, I want to say, and she just counters anti-mage really, really easily.
Yeah, and they again, Orange does have a lack of lockdown right now. They have root right now, but no true silences, no true stuns, and if you don't have that, anti-mage is going to be a problem. You want to have a backup plan just in case you fail your aggression early, just in case your carry doesn't get as much farm as him. You still want to have enough disables so that he can't just completely wreak havoc on your team. And anti-mage, very good versus Darkseer. If you allow him to stay alive in the fight and hit a big mana void, that's usually team fight over.
Yep, Chan's also going to get banned out here as the dual roaming ganking supports.
Yeah, I think that's a very good ban out from IG. Again, they're a little bit scared of the push, especially with Magnus not in the pool. They can't delay pushes as long as they like. Perhaps we'll see another anti-push hero, but Magnus is one of the better ones.
How hard is it for them to just pick a Keeper of Light?
I know. The
Forgotten Hero,
right?
Awesome. The Forgotten Hero.
The bomb.com.
Just the bomb.com. Big illuminates, big blinding lights, but so far I don't think they need to do it just in the moment, because Orange is not really showing an insane pushing strat. Another thing that Orange Esports likes to do is to run an offensive trialing featuring a Windrunner. You just, well, they were going to go with Keeper. There you go.
Yeah.
No more push for you, or at least if you do push, it's going to be delayed further and further. Seems like Invictus Gaming says, man, we're going to just go back to what we know the best. We want to be the one that's leading this draft. You play around our strategy, and we'll beat you with this strat.
I think Juggernaut would be a very good pick by Orange here. It's very, very good versus Keeper of Light, and we saw a lot of teams abuse it pre 6.78, and I think they should probably pick up at one of these two bigs if they want to do a push strat. But again, without the Chen and without, I mean, they don't have the greatest push lineup right now. They need Juggernaut, they need a Chen or Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet already banned out, and it might not fit too well in their lineup. We'll see what Orange wants to go with now, though.
I mean, if you're picking out a jungler, we see Dignitas using Enigma a ton. If you pick it into a Enchantress, you talked about Juggernaut, you don't have any stuns right now.
Right.
And that's definitely an issue against
But who needs stuns when you can just take down all the T1s and T2s?
Well, I mean, you still want to have at least one or two on the lineup.
You need backup.
Yeah, you need
Got
some
Basher, man. Get Basher on Lone Druid.
That is definitely a stun. So we'll see where Orange Esports goes from here. Lone Druid, Darkseer, definitely some of the in-game's best hero. They're going to go into a Bane Elemental, a way to hopefully lock down against Anti-Mage. And so far, there's not too many stuns on Invictus Gaming side. So if you could channel a full duration grip, that can be the answer.
And we're curious to see what IG does here. They have to pick their solo, and both solos, I suppose, unless they really wanted to run a Nixus as the mid. It's fairly uncommon, although
The
one of
Chinese
the teams
been doing it lately.
Yeah, I saw one team run it in the past couple of days, but it is relatively uncommon. He's mostly relegated to a support role. Very good at babysitting the anti-mage with his AoE stun. And he's good at zoning out the Bane too, so if the Bane just wants to spam Enfeeble on anti-mage, 1 mana burn or 2 will completely negate that.
Any possibility of a Marana pick from Orange Esports? Mushi used to play it. He goes
I would
things
like
like
that a lot.
Shadow Blade, Arcane Boots, Rum, that kind of crazy item, kind of mid-game item build. And when you have the Nightmare to set you up in the lane, that can be possible. But right now for Invictus Gaming side, they're going to be running at the car puck, 430 puck. And let's see who's going to be matching up against.
I think Puck's a much better pick than Queen of Pain here, simply because you need a couple more disables to deal with that Bane. You don't want to rely on Nyx Assassin and Anti-Mage's Mana Void as your only sources of stun. Queen of Pain, again, not the best at shutting down Bane and very vulnerable to that grip. But I like the Puck pick up a lot here. It's a relatively good for